There we go. I'm gonna bring in the kick. Yeah. Hello friends, hope you all are doing well and staying creative. One of the most requested topics that I get from viewers of this channel and producers that I tutor is arrangement. I would say for many, if not the majority of producers that I talk to, arrangement is the hardest and most daunting part of the music production process. And it can seem overwhelming to take this 1632 bar loop or a project in session view and turn that into a fully fledged track. But of course, if you're trying to finish your tracks, you have to get good at arranging. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how I arrange my tracks in Ableton Live, and hopefully that demystifies some of the process. So let's get started. All right, so I have a track here that's laid out in session view. Nothing's been recorded yet, but it's at the point where it's ready to be arranged. Now, there's a couple things I wanna note about session view. You know, session view is an amazing tool. It's one of the best parts about Ableton, in my opinion. It's a great way to jam out your ideas, jam out the track, try out different clips, different sounds on the fly, and get an idea of the arrangement of your track. But at the same time, you don't want to spend too much time in session view and lose sight of your project and the overall picture. Something that I see frequently is people spending too much time in session view and they end up losing inspiration and flow state. And the reason is, one, once you have a lot of your core elements laid out in session view, in order to know where to take the track and what kind of sounds to add, you might just have to arrange it and hear the flow of the song. There's a lot of times where I have a track in session view and I just have creator's block. I'm not really sure what kind of instruments to add, but then once I arrange it and hear the intro and the way everything comes in and breaks down, builds up, that gives me a lot more inspiration to see exactly what to add and where to take the track. So sometimes you just need to take what you have, arrange it, and that's going to inspire you to finish the rest of the track. And the second reason is that as you add more and more tracks, it just becomes harder to manage. In this project, I have like 20 something channels, and it's just enough to where I can fit it within this without having to scroll, but it is kind of pushing it. So, you know, once you start getting to like 30, 40 tracks, it really can become a lot. So that's just something to keep in mind. So the main way I arrange tracks is once I have all the core elements in session view, I just jam out the entire track live. And that's gonna give me a rough arrangement. And from there, I can finish the track and add all the little details, effects, transitions, and what other instruments and percussion I feel is necessary. And it's a really quick and efficient way to get a rough sketch. And if you think about it, all you have to do is jam out your track for whatever, 5, 6, 7 minutes, and boom, you have an entire rough arrangement just there. So this project is like a hypnotic, deep, minimal sort of tune. I have everything laid out the way I like it, with my low frequency, my kick, bass stuff over here, then my percussion, my drums, and then I have my synth stuff. So let me just real quickly, I'll just kind of go through each of these elements and then I'll get into arranging the track. So here is the low frequencies, all the kick and the bass. I have a couple things. There's like a sub thing, there's a little swell, and I have a perk bass. It's all the basses. By the way, if you want me to make a video on how to make this bass line, leave a little comment below. Then there's a 303. This is actually just sending, this is a channel that's sending MIDI to my hardware 303. So if I go over here, I can adjust the 303. So while I'm jamming it out, I'm going to play with the 303 as well. So that's the 303. Then this is just an audio channel that's going to record the 303. And then we got the percussion. So I have a clap, a couple hat layers, some little perk loops, some lasers. So that's what all that sounds like. It's all the drums together. And then over here I have the, I guess you can call it the lead. I don't really think it's a lead, it's just something I made an operator. And then I have another pattern. Just some like deep chords, you know. Then over here I have some chants. I'm not really sure if I'm actually going to use this, but I have it in here just in case. So let me turn that on. Some, yeah, like some tribal chants. This is a pad. Turn that on. All this MIDI, I just played this live, so that's why it looks crazy and random, but it works for the pad because it's not percussive. Yeah, just this like deep, melodic, mellow pad. Got some effects. Oh. Sampled this from a movie, just some like crazy effects. Some dark ambience and atmos. And then I have some vocals. I took this from an old interview documentary thing about this kid on acid, and he's talking about his experience. So I have a couple things I chopped up from that interview, just a couple phrases and answers that he had.
Why are you here?
Then I have there's some effects.
It's a long story, but I'll try to break it down in short. I found God.
So, you know, I have those clips there. And, you know, these sounds aren't necessarily final. It's just kind of the core elements that I need to start arranging. And from there, I can see whether I need to take out any elements if it's not working, like this chant, for example, or if I need to like replace it or add some new sounds. So what I'll do is I'll hit record, start arranging, and I'll try to explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. All right, it is time to record, and I took out the 303 because it was giving me some like MIDI issues. So yeah, I don't have to mess with that. So let's go. So, you know, I'll just let that ride for a little bit, probably for 8 bars. Then I'll bring in this, probably this low perk. Hats, and then a fill snare. Slowly building everything up, building some tension, just some energy. Take out the kick. Now bringing the kick in with the next bass. Next I'm going to bring in some effects. Actually no, I'll bring in a clap. There we go.
drugs.
There we go. I'm gonna bring in the kick. Yeah. So we are 4 minutes in. It's pretty good. Probably good time for maybe a breakdown. I don't know. Probably.
What's God like? Well, first of all, God is everything, so he's like everything. He is everything. There's nothing that he isn't like. Feels he like a man? I don't know. First thing, he lives in everything. Everything on this earth.
Now we just have a little breakdown here. Now I want to bring some stuff in. Alright, now we need to get out of this pad. So I'm just gonna
I'll try to break it down short. I found God, and I made me feel
There we
quite
go.
good, And my mother mistook this good feeling for taking drugs.
got some chants. Adding in the other effects.
I don't understand. What is your purpose here?
There we go. We're at like 7.5 minutes. That's pretty much a full song. Obviously, it needs some polishing. It's not perfect, but there's something on your digital canvas here. So, very quick way to do this. We just have to kind of build a little outro. We don't have to, but might as well, right? All right, there we go. And what's that? That's a little over 8 minutes. And, yeah, like I said, you have this whole track now. and it's a lot easier to go and like, essentially finish your track from here than if you're starting with a blank, canvas and then have to like drag in your clips or like move things around. At least in my opinion, this to me is a lot more efficient, and a lot of times there'll be like nice happy accidents, from when you're playing the track. So all those things, you can use in your song. It's weird, like when you're playing out your music, especially when you're doing it like on one of the machines, and the mouse and keyboard's like kind of weird. But when you're doing it on one of those, it really helps because it feels like an instrument, and you get these great happy accidents, and like the arrangements, in my opinion, just feel a lot more organic and natural because I mean they are, you're playing them. So that's another reason why I prefer this method. So yeah, I hope this helped. Goodbye.